$100 pair of Nike sneakers only costs about $28 to actually make and ship. That's the real number. But Nike isn't even the worst brand on this whole list. One company here kept selling a workout machine after a little kid died on it, and then they fought the recall for weeks. So let's run through 8 sport brands quietly draining your wallet, and 5 that are honestly worth every single dollar. Before we go any further, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel. And if you like what you hear, press the like button and set up notifications for future videos. Now, let's move on. Starting our countdown at number 8 is Lululemon. Everyone loves these leggings, but they hide a wild secret. Lululemon's famous Align pants sell for about $98 to $128. People in the business guess they only cost around $20 to $30 to make. That's a giant jump for some stretchy fabric. But the price isn't even the crazy part. Back in March 2013, Lululemon had to pull its black yoga pants off the shelves because they went see-through when you bent over. The company admitted that mess was about 17% of all the women's bottoms in their stores. According to Time, it cost them somewhere between $57 and $67 million in lost sales. Then the founder made it worse. On Bloomberg TV in November 2013, Chip Wilson said the problem was that some women's bodies just don't actually work for the pants. People were furious, and he stepped down as chairman within weeks. 2 years later, they even had to recall hundreds of thousands of tops after the drawstring snapped back and hurt 7 women in the face. So you're really paying for a logo that once blamed your own thighs. Which drops us to number 7, Nike. Remember that $28 sneaker from the start? Let me show you where the rest of your $100 goes. Nike sells that shoe to stores for around $50, so the store keeps the other $50. After paying for ads, research, and taxes, Nike only makes about $4.50 per shoe, according to the Portland Business Journal. So the real money machine is the whole chain, not one greedy boss. The store you buy from usually grabs the biggest slice of all. But the part most videos skip is uglier. Nike built its empire on faraway factories where people earned just a couple of dollars a day. A 2026 ProPublica report found workers in Indonesia still making roughly $150 to $300 a month, barely above the local minimum. So that swoosh you pay extra for has leaned on cheap labor for 30 years. Now it gets sneaky at number 6, Alo Yoga. Alo loves to look like a clean, sunny Los Angeles brand, and their leggings cost about $128. But people who study supply chains say most Alo gear is sewn in Vietnam, not California. The brand just keeps selling you that breezy LA dream. A watchdog group called Good On You rates Alo's honesty as not good enough because Alo won't even share a full list of its factories. But the ugliest part came in August 2025. A famous yoga instructor named Briony Smith sued the company. She says Alo pushed her out at age 40 because she no longer fit their young look, and that her pay dropped from $100,000 to $70,000 right before they fired her. Her lawyer said it's pretty ironic for a wellness brand to dump a woman just for turning 40. And remember, you're paying a premium price for a made-in-Vietnam product wrapped up in a made-in-California story. So much for healthy living. That looks gentle next to number 5, Under Armour. Under Armour didn't just charge you too much for gym shirts, it got caught lying to its own investors. In May 2021, the SEC fined the company $9 million. They found Under Armour had quietly pulled $408 million of future orders into the present, back in 2015. In plain words, they made it look like sales were still booming when they weren't, and they didn't tell anybody. The company never admitted or denied it. They just paid the fine and walked away, after regulators said they'd painted a misleading picture of the business. So while you paid top dollar for sweat-proof gear, the brand was busy faking its own growth. They were chasing Wall Street targets while real shoppers footed the bill. But the next one turned, tricking shoppers into the entire business. Because number 4 is Fashiontips. You've seen the ads with Kate Hudson, who helped start the brand in 2013. 2 pairs of leggings for $24 sounds like a total steal, but the trap is sneaky. The second you sign up, you're quietly dropped into a VIP membership that charges you about $59.95 every month, even if you buy nothing at all. And canceling turns into a real headache on purpose. Back in 2014, the parent company paid almost $2 million to settle deceptive billing claims in California. They clearly didn't fix it. In October 2025, Fashiontips' parent agreed to a $4.8 million settlement with more than 20 states, including $3.8 million in refunds to people who got charged. So that deal was built to drain you slowly. But for pure hype, just wait for number 3. Number 3 is Supreme. Supreme turned a little red logo into a religion. They'd stick it on a hoodie, a skateboard, even a real clay brick, and fans would resell it for crazy prices. The whole thing runs on fake shortages, tiny drops that sell out in seconds so people panic. At its best, Supreme was pulling in over $500 million a year just from those drops. But the proof the hype was way too big is hard to argue with. In 2020, the huge VF Corporation bought Supreme for $2.1 billion. 4 years later, in October 2024, they sold it to the glasses company EssilorLuxottica for just $1.5 billion. That's a $600 million loss on a logo, and Supreme only ran about 17 stores. One retail expert, Neil Saunders, said VF overpaid for a trophy asset. So even the pros admit it was mostly selling air. But air was cheaper than what Adidas got stuck holding. Which brings us to number 2, Adidas and the Yeezy mess. Adidas teamed up with Kanye West back in 2013, and the Yeezy line made close to $1 billion a year. It even made up a big chunk of Kanye's billion-dollar fortune. But when Kanye went on anti-Semitic rants in 2022, Adidas dropped him that October. The company said plainly that it doesn't tolerate anti-Semitism or any kind of hate speech. Suddenly, they were stuck with about $1.2 billion of Yeezy shoes they couldn't sell with his name on them. That one problem caused a $513 million loss in just 3 months. They spent the next 2 years quietly selling the pile off. By early 2025, their money chief Harm Ohlmeyer told reporters there is not one Yeezy shoe left. So a brand that fancy was always one bad tweet away from falling apart. But none of these hit as hard as number 1. Number 1 is Peloton. This is the one I warned you about at the very start. Peloton's Tread Plus treadmill sold for $4,295, sold as the fancy machine every home gym needed. But it hid a deadly flaw. Kids and pets were getting pulled under the back of it. In March 2021, a 6-year-old child died after being dragged beneath one. Safety officials counted 72 scary incidents, including 29 kids hurt with broken bones and burns, and they told families to stop using it. Instead of moving fast, Peloton fought that warning and swore the machine was perfectly safe. A few weeks later, they finally gave in, recalled about 125,000 machines, and CEO John Foley admitted Peloton made a mistake. Then, in 2023, they paid a $19 million government fine for not reporting the danger sooner. By the time it was all over, the company had logged hundreds of injury reports tied to that one machine. So that's what premium really costs when a brand guards its image first. But now, let's flip the whole thing around. If your wallet already hurts from all that, go ahead and tap subscribe, because these next 5 brands actually deserve your money. Number 5 worth it is Decathlon. Decathlon is a French sports giant that sells gear so cheap people think it must be junk. But the reason it's cheap is smart, not shady. Decathlon designs its own brands, makes them, and sells them in its own stores. So there's no long chain of middlemen, each adding their own markup. The company straight up says small profits mean lower prices for you. They once redesigned a backpack to use 8 fabric panels instead of 21, dropped the price to under $4, and still gave it a 10-year guarantee. They let you return stuff for a whole year, and they pull any product their own shoppers rate under 3 stars. Decathlon has done it this way since 1976, and it now sells in dozens of countries, all built on that same no fashion tax idea. So that's the opposite of a ripoff. But the next pick proves pricey can still be fair. Number 4 worth it is Asics. Serious runners quietly trust Asics while everyone else chases flashier logos. The name comes from an old Latin saying that means a sound mind in a sound body, and the brand has cared about tough running shoes since 1949. Their Gel Cayano costs around $165, which sounds like a lot, but reviewers who literally cut the shoes in half found the bottom lasts 400 to 500 miles. Other trendy brands charge the same or even more for shoes that wear out way faster. Asics also uses special bottom rubber called AHAR that helps the shoe outlast the competition. The Cayano line has even won Runner's World Awards more than once, so you're paying for real miles, not marketing. But the next brand does something almost nobody else will. Number 3 worth it is New Balance. Almost every sneaker brand makes everything overseas for a few bucks a pair. New Balance still builds over 4 million pairs a year inside the United States, in factories in Maine and Massachusetts. Those made in USA shoes cost around $200 to $260, which is about double the normal ones. But now you get why. That higher price pays real American factory workers and real materials, not some invisible logo tax. Those plants support more than 7,000 jobs across the brand's suppliers. It's one of the only big sport brands where the steep price tag points straight to where your money lands. So when New Balance charges more, there's a real factory standing behind it. But for pure value, the next one is almost unfair. Number 2 worth it is Darn Tough. These are socks made in one small mill in Vermont, and they come with a promise that sounds nuts. If a Darn Tough sock ever wears out, even years later, they replace it for free. No receipt and no questions asked. The family behind them runs more than 300 knitting machines around the clock in Northfield, Vermont, and each machine can cost over $100,000. In 2024, they made the promise even better by dropping the old fine print. Hikers say they get thousands of miles out of a single pair, while cheap socks die after just a few hundred. So you end up buying 1 pair instead of 10 over your whole life. That's a company betting on its own quality. But the last brand might be the most surprising name on this entire list. And number 1, worth every penny, is Patagonia. Patagonia charges a lot, yet it might be the most honest brand in this whole game. They'll fix your beat-up jacket instead of pushing a new one on you, repairing around 40,000 items every year. Their ironclad guarantee means if the gear ever lets you down, you get a repair, a swap, or your money back. But the wildest part happened in 2022. The founder, Yvon Chouinard, gave the whole company away. He handed it to a trust and a nonprofit so that all the profits, around $100 million a year, go toward fighting climate change. The company says it's already sent $180 million that way. He put it in one simple line: Earth is now our only shareholder. So when Patagonia takes your money, It isn't padding a rich guy's yacht fund. It's a brand actually doing what it says. Patagonia is even a certified B Corp, which means those promises are written right into the company's legal rules. So the next time a logo swears it's worth it, remember the real cost hiding behind that tag. If this saved you from even one bad buy, hit subscribe and keep your wallet sharp.